Jenna Quinn joins us, and I told you a little bit about her story earlier in the program. And Jenna Quinn is someone who suffered child sex abuse at a young age, and she survived it. And she not only survived it and came forward about it, but has been a huge advocate for those survivors, and someone that has come out and has worked with legislators and other important people behind the scenes to be able to bring about more awareness to this issue. And someone who has really worked to help not only bring awareness about it, but more education about it, and to help that when there are those that are suffering, to not have to suffer in silence, to be able to come forward. And so Jenna Quinn joins us now on the phone lines. Jenna, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for addressing this important topic this morning. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So last time I had you on, it was on the Moon Griffon show. I was guest hosting that day, and we talked about the federal law that was signed by President Biden that lifted the timeline that was put on civil suits in these child sex abuse cases. And during that discussion that me and you had, we talked about Jenna's Law, which was passed in Texas over a decade ago. And you had mentioned how, there's 26 states that have like that law or some version of it in their state, and the desire to make it more on the federal level. And now there was a press conference that you recently were a part of, where advocates are pushing to make the law, the Jenna Quinn Law, a federal law. Tell us, about the press conference itself, and tell us how much closer are we to getting to that point?
Absolutely. So first of all, for those who don't know, Jenna's Law, as you mentioned and you recapped it so well, passed in Texas in 2009, and then now several states have adopted a version of Jenna's Law. And what Jenna's Law does is, it was really a response to what I wish I had. It's what I needed when I was going through what I was going through. So I had, very clear warning signs. My teachers, the adults around me, my parents were never educated on how to have that conversation, what to look for, how to respond. And as a student, I was never given, opportunities to tell in any of my safe places. My parents didn't have a prevention conversation with me. My school didn't have a prevention conversation with me, and my church didn't have a prevention conversation with me. And so I concluded that this must be something that's better left unspoken. And that's the message that we send to children and youth when safe adults aren't the first ones to talk to them about body safety. And so Jenna's Law is a requirement for primary and secondary schools to train all school staff and mandatory reporters on what the warning signs are: behavioral, emotional, physical warning signs, as well as giving students the opportunities to tell through body safety conversations and predator awareness and things like that. And of course, it's all very age appropriate, and it's all very developmentally appropriate according to the child's grade.
In one area.
And so now, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna drop in there. In one area where the federal comes in at is that federal funds would be used to be able to train these adults who work with children to be able to recognize and report child sexual abuse.
That's exactly right. And so one of the biggest issues we've seen in, most states is the need for resources and funding, because in many communities, I know in your community and in mine, even though we're in different states, we all have access to child advocacy centers, rape crisis centers. There's a lot of really wonderful grassroots nonprofit organizations that are doing this type of work. They're trying to get into the schools. They're trying to get information into, the parents' hands. And sometimes it's for free, and sometimes there's a cost because they're programs. So this will allocate funding for all the states through the Department of Health and Human Services, so that if that is a reason for why someone can't access education to this, then that takes care of, that issue of funding. They'll be able to access it.
So who was able to speak in conjunction with you at the press conference?
So the press conference was really wonderful for many reasons. We had our U.S. Senator John Cornyn there, who is the sponsor of the Jenna Quinn Law in our United States Senate. The co-sponsor is a Democrat, Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire. But this was in Texas, so we had Senator John Cornyn there. We had State Representative Tan Parker, who originally championed Jenna's Law in 2009, and we had Dallas Assistant Chief of Police, the Tarrant County Sheriff, Bill Wayborn. We had ISD representatives there, and everyone was there sharing success stories. It was so beautiful to hear. And when someone like myself goes to an event like this, it really, you do all this work behind the scenes, but when you go and you see everybody in a room sharing all of the success stories from students and from teachers reporting, it really makes it real for you. And, everyone was basically saying how well this has worked and how we need more support from other states to be able to get this passed, because the issue is that this is the second time it has passed our United States Senate unanimously. Unanimously this has passed, not once but twice. So the question is now, will our U.S. House of Representatives do the right thing this time around?
So it really passed the Senate unanimously the first time and then failed in the House? And when was that?
Yes, so it has passed twice now unanimously. It passed in 2020, and so our press releases were virtual at that time and everything. But again, it died in the House. Wow. And this time we have just a few months left now before the end of this Congress for them to send the right message on its very simple question: do you want to stop the sexual abuse of children and youth this Congress or not? And so far, I haven't seen any movement in the House yet. So we're really trying to push people to reach out to their U.S. House members to try to get this done, because there are several co-sponsors right now, both Republican and Democrat, in the House that are trying to push this through. Yeah,
I mean, you've got legislators from both sides of the aisle and from all different parts, whether it's the House or the Senate. So when it failed in the House, did it fail because it never got heard, or did it actually fail? Did people actually vote against it?
So it failed because it never made it to committee.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it didn't get heard. It never got the chance to get a vote.
Another example, I'm sorry, but another example of Congress spending too much time on other things and not on some of the most important things that we need. And that's very frustrating to hear, because what you're bringing up, we talk about these things in politics, but then to actually hear it from someone who is an advocate, who's pushing for the right thing, and for them to just not even, bring it to committee, something this important, it's mind-boggling. It's amazing. These people are supposed to work on our behalf, and especially on the behalf of our young children, who feel so helpless many times when a situation like this happens with them. And to know that they didn't even take it up, that tells me that they are not doing nearly enough to fight for our kids. That's very disheartening.
It is. It's very disappointing, and especially now today, in this day and age. I grew up in the 90s, which I think was a really great time to be a kid compared to now.
Yeah.
But things are different now. We have information from Internet Crimes Against Children that has said 1 in 5 regular Internet users, we're talking about our youth here, so 18 and under, 1 in 5 of our youth who are regular Internet users have received unwanted sexual solicitation. So our children are more at risk now than ever before, because we have not only in-person crimes to think about, but online exploitation as well.
Wow. Jenna Quinn has been our guest. Jenna, thank you so much for joining us once again. And like I said last time, thank you so much for what you do to advocate for our children who need. So thank you so much.
Thank you.